computer. Okay, so let's see how many we have now. We're up to 10. Okay, so again, we all know real estate's a numbers game. 2 more just joined. We all know real estate's a numbers game. So all I'm going to do at the end of the day is help you with your numbers. Basic as that. Now, when I fly or used to fly all over the country, I would be in front of a large crowd of agents and I'd say, why can't you do the best possible job of staying in touch? And they raise their hand and they become, you know, all of a sudden very honest in front of the manager. They say, Al, I have a little bit of this, a little bit of that, but I don't have a whole program. So this is the program that I've been honing for 19 years and specifically for the last 2.5 for Howard Hanna. Starts with building a brand new database for every agent we're talking to right now, every agent that works with us, because 9 out of 10 need a new database. So we're going to go into all these locations and others. And everywhere you have email contacts, export them, clean them up, take the duplicates out, show you which ones are bad, and then hand you a list that you can then subscribe. Then you can scrub. Once you scrub that list, we're going to go right to that last box, protecting it. Now, Brian, you know that the email addresses that we put in for you, what do you have? 800, 900, Brian? 1,300?
I think I got more than that. I think I got about 1,100 or 1,200.
Okay, those 1,100 email addresses, when Brian joined, within a couple of days, we have that list built. We put those contacts in, and they're protected now. Nobody in this country using HomeActions can attack Brian's database.
Right.
And in fact, just a few minutes ago, Donna Goldschlager called, and she signed up. And we're going to start building her database later on this afternoon. She's got apparently there's a continuing education webinar going on right now too. It's 3 hours long. And I told her ours wasn't going to be that long. But 3 hours of continuing education on a computer, that'd drive you crazy. So again, database into a pipeline. Every 2 weeks, we nurture that pipeline. And then we give you intelligence on what's going on inside of your database. Who's warming up for a transaction? And how do we know some of this stuff is we work with the industry, obviously, and we track all these trends. And we know that 15 out of every 100 contacts you have, this comes out of Ninja Training Institute. 15 of every 100 contacts you have, whether it be phone numbers or email addresses or text numbers, 15 of every 100 are warming up, doing some kind of research. But we want them anymore to do their research in front of you so you know what they got. If they go behind your back and they go to Zillow, you lose them, they're not coming back. And we've got a Zillow killer widget coming up here in a couple slides. But the idea is that you have business waiting for you in your database. You just don't have a database. Now, what's going to happen after the storm clears, right? The coronavirus. You're going to have, I was on the phone yesterday with my friends at NAR, and they're already pushing through legislation for first-time home buyer tax credits. Now, I don't know whether you guys have a lot of room in the marketplace up there for first-time home buyers, but the idea is that there's going to be a boatload of programs and education that needs to be done. Somebody's got to educate consumers. We want it to be their agent. So we're going to put together a whole slew of all these new plans that are coming out of the states and the feds, and you're going to be able to communicate effectively on all these new programs. Interest rates, don't forget, are still going to be at 3%. They're going to be held down, I'm sure, for the next year. And there's going to be obviously pent-up demand. The people that need to move today, yesterday or last month, still have to move. They just can't right now, but they're going to. So we see, an opportunity here for agents. Hi, is that somebody has a question?
I think it was a cough.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. So that's why agents need a direct line into the homes of their clients, prospects, and friends to ensure that those consumers get this information, but they only get it from you, right? Because it's all locked up and exclusive. So the newsletter, we have a couple different templates at the top for what the newsletter looks like. So every 2 weeks, we send out something like this. Now there's 4, 5, 6 more articles below this. You just couldn't see that. So what I want your focus to be on is that first article there, what's sold down the street. That's our most widely clicked article, okay, since I've been doing this. Everybody if there's one thing you can learn today, everybody wants to know what's sold down the street. Why? Because they think their house is more valuable than that. And they may be thinking about moving and they're trying to match up, do this research. So as soon as somebody clicks that article, Pam King is going to get a text or an email telling her who in her database clicked on that article. And Pam would say, well, why do I care? Well, 40% of consumers that click on that kind of data or warming up for a transaction, early stage research. They're doing something. But again, they're doing it in front of you. So you know what's going on here. You know the Joneses are banging around on all this content because we told you through email and text every time there's engagement. Now, we don't put these alerts on every article, just the ones that are what we call predictive. This is a very predictive article. People read that for a specific reason. They want to know what's sold down the street. And we're going to tell you why they wanted that. So that's an example of good content that we put in here. And it's content, guys, you already have. You could build the same thing and do it out of MailChimp or send it somewhere else, but you're not going to do it consistently and you're going to run out of time. So let us do it. And all we want from you is 10 zip codes where you want to be an expert, or 15. And boom, they're going to click on their zip code, and what comes up is the information on the right, everything that's sold in that area. Now, guess how old this data is when your readers click on this article? In fact, I have it right there. It's 15 minutes old. So sometimes when you click on when the consumers are clicking on this zip code, there's sales that day that have already been formalized, done. You can't get any closer, to reality than 15 minutes. Here's an example of an agent that we bring in their listings, okay? So we could bring in your listings, your just sold, your open houses. Think of us as an emailable website, everything you would want on a cool website. And Steve, I'll go to one of my gotcha questions right now. How many people could raise their hand and tell me how many hits you had on your website last night? How many visitors? Nobody? Doesn't look it. So we know that you're not going to make a lot of money because you have the Coldwell Banker website, because most agents have trouble getting people to those websites. So we're going to show you how we're doing that. See all these links down here under Victoria Gettings' picture? Those are links that go right to her website. So because everybody gets the newsletter, there's going to be more people opening the newsletter than there are visiting your website. I guarantee you that. Over on the right, another predictive article, true or false. Do you have to have 20% down payment, and do you have to have perfect credit? Well, we all know you don't have to, but this is what consumers believe. So wouldn't you want to talk to 20 people that just read that article in the last hour? We're going to tell you that. So that's the fun part. And I think, Brian, you could chime in here. You're the one that goes into looks at your stats after launches and everything else, right?
Yeah. That's one of the things I like is, what you explained, if somebody opens up an article, it immediately sends you an alert. Sometimes it's the same people looking at things, but other times it's people you haven't been in touch with for a while. It's a good reason to reach out to them and, see what's up in their life and, see if they're interested.
Yeah, Brian, we call that a conversation starter, not a hot lead.
Yes.
Just a simple reason you have something in common now with that person because you haven't talked to them in 3 years. Because what were you going to say, right?
Right.
Hi, Brian. It's Brian. I'm still a realtor at Howard Hanna. No, have something in common. And this is another one of our predictive articles. We throw this in every couple months. And again, wouldn't you want to talk to 20 people that have no idea how much equity they have in their home? So let's try doing a quick CMA for them, right? Add your professionalism. Here's an example. 2 weeks ago, when Hobby had his Friday webinar, they uncovered a whole bunch of new articles and videos that the agents can use for blogging and for putting on social media. But it's kind of hard to do it. So what we did was we went and took all that content and we built it into the agent's library. And I'll show you the library right here. This is just some of it. This is Howard Hanna written content. And you'll notice 7 ways to lift your mood, that second article. Look what Osra did. She put that first article in her first location. Now, just because somebody reads that article doesn't mean that they're buying or selling a house or even warming up. It's just another conscious click. It's another conscious impression that so Osra knows that these people are reading these articles, okay? So we could put tracers on them or not. Over on the right, that's the new Howard Hanna video. I think she had 18 or 20 people click on that video, okay? Because everything is tracked. Why did we put Joan in here? Welcome to HomeActions. Yeah, this is a welcome letter, which you can customize or have us customize it for you. It tells everybody why you're putting them in your HomeActions and what to expect. We already went through that one. Here's the rest of our articles, 1,200 articles we have in the library. You'll never run out of content to slide into your newsletter if you want to, or have us do it. Or in about 7 or 8 seconds, take any one of these articles and have it automatically posted to Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn, and short coded for everything else. So there's an entire social media game plan in here built on good, engaging content, not recipes. You could put recipes in if you want. I think we have some of them, by the way. I don't encourage that, but you can if you're that type of realtor. So on this next slide, you're going to see crazy Brian Walters here trying to get into Hollywood by shooting his own videos. Now, Brian, given the fact you're a multimillionaire, you would have a film crew do this normally, wouldn't you?
Yeah, normally, but I roughed it that day.
Well, I have Photoshop. I can make you look like you're 18, and Steve, you too. Okay. We could bring you back in time. But anyway, if anybody shoots video, we could play the video right inside the newsletter, and of course, we'll tell you who clicked on your video. If Brian's going to do 27 takes until he gets this thing polished, he's going to want to know that people are looking at this stuff, and they do. They love video. On this next slide, these are Brian's.
One take.
Pardon me?
One take, Albert.
One take. Is that what it was?
Absolutely.
Yeah, you're amazing. I'm going to come up there with a film crew, though. We're going to blow this out. Okay, Brian's engagement report. Okay, these are Brian's heavy hitters. So there's a button in his control panel which adds up everybody that clicked anything, and you'll see Mary O'Brien has clicked over the last 6 months 116 articles. Patrick Green, go right down the road. And these are what we call Brian's heavy hitters. Expect some business out of these people because they're opening, clicking, and sharing. Okay, and you get to see all this. We get to see all this. And after your first launch, I'm going to call you and walk you through everything on what you should click. Because there's loads of, there's loads of metric reports in the back end that you're going to want to benefit from. Okay, how many people are using neighborhood news? Okay, the reason that a lot of agents don't use it is that they don't have the zip codes of the consumer, right? Because you need a zip code to send the correct thing. So what do you do if you don't have a zip code? You send the wrong report, okay? What we do is we ask the agent on the left-hand side to give us 10, 12 zip codes where you want to be an expert. And when the consumer clicks on their zip code, up is going to come the right report, right? Because they know what zip code they're in. So they get the they get the neighborhood news, and you get an immediate text or email telling you that so-and-so just opened up neighborhood news. You can't do that from the inside of Engage. You have to go to an individual consumer and see if they see if they opened up your neighborhood news. We don't think that's going to happen, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to get you many more times the impressions on your neighborhood news because we put it in the newsletter. And so as soon as we started doing this, I had a call from Moxie. Of course, Moxie built Engage. They said, how'd you do that? I had to explain to them how we did it. We reverse engineered a little bit, but they were like, wow, this is really cool to do that. Maybe we'll do that, on the actual Engage report, but they're not going to do that. So we understand what agents can do and what they can't do. Finding zip codes for all their past clients, they're not going to do that, which means the past clients aren't going to get the neighborhood news report from Engage. But boy, every 2 weeks they can grab it inside of HomeActions, right? Because our newsletter goes out every 2 weeks. So every 2 weeks we could put this same article in, how's the market? Ask it a leading question, right? Again, predictive article, boom, notification to you as soon as it's open, how many times? And did anybody share it? Steve, how's buy side going up there? Have you been trained on it? Steve,
Can't hear you, Steve.
Steve?
Can't hear you. You muted yourself.
Just a second. I'll unmute it. Hey, give me a second. I'm an old guy. It takes a while. It's been put out there. It's gaining some traction. There's been a lot of training available to it, but yeah, we're still learning how to use it.
Okay, so when the agents are comfortable with buy side, we could put this article in. Okay, now why do we put this in? Why does a consumer care that you have buy side? Because when you're sitting down with them at a listing presentation and you say, please sign this paper here, right, the listing agreement, because I already have people that were looking at a 4-bedroom colonial in this part of town on this kind of land for this kind of money, okay? We already have them. And if an agent can eloquently tell that story to consumers, they're going to do some more business, right? Because Buy-Side's a great program. I'm going to come at it from the other way and educate consumers as to why they want to deal with a Buy-Side realtor or a realtor that has Buy-Side. Okay, so any of the new tools you guys are getting, I'm privy to a bunch of things that you guys are going to be working with. We could take and burn into the newsletter, because if, like a regular toolbox, if you've got a lot of tools and nobody knows it, nobody's working them, what good are the tools? So again, we could tell you as soon as somebody clicks this article. Now, maybe you never heard of Buy-Side as the consumer, and that's fine, but you did now, and we want the realtor to know that. So again, we're able to take these cool things you guys have and get more adoption. What issues do homeowners tell us they need help with? When we focus group with our readers, we tell them that we're going to cover all these sections. And what we are not is a real estate newsletter. That's for recipes and moving day tips. We're Homeownership 101. These are all the topics that we track and we write and we deliver engaging content every 2 weeks for your clients, prospects, and friends. And I mentioned this feature in the beginning. You need to hear it again. Email exclusivity. Once we put your list in the database, and this is simply why Donna Goldschlager called 35 minutes ago. She wanted to make sure that this afternoon we're going to build her database and get it in and get it protected. Because there will be email addresses, like you wouldn't want to be the 50th agent in your office to subscribe to HomeActions. Why? Because a lot of email addresses may be taken. We will tell you if those addresses you tried to put in are already taken. If they unsubscribe, then you automatically get it, right? Because you're second in command. So I'll go through that one a little easier. Let's say Brian has BettyJane@AOL.com in his database, and Steve goes and tries to put it in his database. It's going to say, sorry, this email address is already enrolled. So Steve says, hey, that's somebody I sold a house to. All they have to do is unsubscribe with one click on the other newsletter. Steve automatically gets them. Okay, so this is what we call an early mover advantage. I have parts of New Jersey where we don't even sell this anymore because we have entire towns locked up with email addresses. Okay, on the next one, again, there's another view of our library of 1,200 articles. Post any content, social media, drag it 5, 6, 7 seconds it takes. When I told you we got some pretty extensive metrics, this is what I mean. You'll be able to see a snapshot in time of how your newsletter is doing. And overall, on this screen, we're going to tell you what we get down to, which is your unique opens and your total opens. So for this agent, we sent out 1,336 emails. I remember doing this 4.5 hours after that went out, 615 unique opens. That means 615 of his 1,336 opened it at least once. But half of them clicked multiple times. See that 1,016? So half of your readers are going to open your newsletter multiple times. And that's good. Why? Because they stuck your name and your subject line in their inbox. And as they go up and down their email 500 times a day like we do, your name and your subject line is emblazoned in their memory because they see it so many times a day. And they read it later on that night. They read it a week from now. I don't care when they read it. I'm going to tell you when they read it. Okay? So all this information goes, and then the next screen we're going to go to is the one that I really love. Show me who wanted to know what sold down the street, when, and for how much up to the last 15 minutes. You see those 28 people there in that middle red arrow? Well, 40% of those 28 people are potentially warming up, researching, in front of you, right? That's the operative word, in front of you. They might be able to find this stuff wrong, outdated, whatever on Zillow or Realtor.com, but not with us. We get it because we pull it out of the MLS immediately. But anyway, so 28 people, click on the word who, we're going to tell you who the 28 are. There's 28 conversation starters. Now, you may not have time to do it all. If you know some of them, pick up the phone and call them. If you don't know them, right? Because you're going to have email addresses in your database, and you're going to say, Al, I don't know some of these people, and that's fine. Put them in. Why? Because someone else is going to get them, another realtor. So you don't pay by the email address. So put everybody in that you have an email address for. 26 there, the just in, where home value's been. That's the CoreLogic home value index that we put in every month or so when they publish it. So again, at a given moment, everything that's going on in your database. After every article is opened, we ask the consumer on your behalf if they like the content. Is it shareable? Look at that fourth response there. 15% of these forms that come back to you have that box checked yes, on average, okay? So most agents are afraid to ask for referral business. The good agents know how to do it, make it soft, unassuming. And that's what we're doing here is, so somebody is saying, hey, I don't need any help right now, but my sister-in-law is coming to town. Can you help her out? That's why they check yes. We could talk about that later on too. Okay, for the agents up there that are using Moxie Engage, all of the contacts, and there's a switch that we could turn on for you once you subscribe to HomeActions. All the contacts in Moxie Engage every morning at 2:30, go to HomeActions, your database at HomeActions. Everything that's in HomeActions goes into Moxie Engage, 2:30 in the morning. So we synchronize these databases so everybody's getting the right nurturing, the nurturing that you want them to have. If you don't want
That's
them to get anything,
that's Real Scout and open to close. Is that what we're?
right? Yeah, Real Scout, open to close, and your e-contacts all filter up to Engage.
Albert, I'm not sure if I've got that on, but you'll have to let me know how to do that.
Yeah, we just call our customer service and say turn it on.
Okay.
Okay, they'll know what it means.
No
So
problem.
Moxie's up, Moxie's a great CRM. You guys get it for free. You may as well use it. And we're going to make sure that you have all your contacts in there. Now, when I talked about defection and people coming to your website saying, oh, I need more information, I'm going to go to Zillow. Well, these are all the reasons why people run to Zillow and never come back to the agent's website. They're taking ads out now in Arizona and California simply saying, you don't need realtors anymore. We have everything. Okay. So realtors built up Zillow and now they're getting bit in the back end because Zillow is now trying to get rid of realtors so they can make that margin themselves. So we know that Zillow's got a lot of great information. So what we went out and did was find something comparable to what Zillow has. And we built this widget called Neighborhood 360. This is probably one of our most predictive articles. It gives your reader the ability to pull up any of 150 million street addresses. Steve, how many street addresses do you think are out there?
149 million.
Close, you're off by one. We've got information on every street address out there and every neighborhood around it, okay? And this, as soon as somebody opens the article and requests the report's going to open up right on their screen. You lazy realtors don't have to do anything because you wouldn't, even if they asked for it. So what happens here is this report gets pulled up and somebody types in 27 Topaz Drive, Chickamauga, New York. And there is a town called Chickamauga, New York. You guys have an office there.
Buffalo.
So let me go and show you the actual report for this. We're going to stop share. We're going to screen share a new one.
That's Chautauqua.
Chautauqua?
Yes.
I would call it Chautauqua. I don't know. Where's my report here? Come on. That's not it. That's not it. Where's my report? Give me one more here. There it is. Okay, so 27 Topaz Drive is the listing. Now, the agent gets a text or an email immediately saying, Brian Walters just pulled up a Neighborhood 360 report on 27 Topaz Drive, and he's thinking it's his house and he's thinking about selling it. They have to tell us why they want this report. Again, on the massive amount of conversation starters, all generated from people right now. So over on the right, demographics on the can you guys see the screen, 27 Topaz?
Yep.
Okay. Demographics on the right, a map of where the property is, building residential information, cost of living information to move from anywhere in the country to this town, and vice versa. There's cost of living calculators all over this. Income levels in the neighborhood, rent versus own, average tax bill, average tax rate, sales rate. Recent sales nearby. Remember I told you everybody wants to know what's sold down the street? Well, these aren't comps. These are just solds. Keller Williams, C21, everybody. Also remember why I just mentioned Keller Williams is that they can't get this product, okay? Century 21 can't get HomeActions. Coldwell Banker agent down the street can't get HomeActions. Why? We don't sell it to them because we have that much allegiance for Howard Hanna. For an entire year, I couldn't sell this to anybody in Ohio but Howard Hanna agents. And I even said, well, wait a minute, south of Columbus, you guys don't even have offices down there. You know what Howard Hanna said? We're thinking about it. So they want their agents to have a very well nurtured database and protected, and that's why they encourage us to get into every office. So home sales in the area, transportation, how does everybody get to work, all their school information, some school stats. We don't tell them what school they're going to go to, of course. We just tell them to click these blue buttons and you'll find out about it. And then there's really cool life section. Okay, people are investigating neighborhoods before they even look at listings. So this is where we're going to go for happy hour. We're going to go back for some fine dining. This is all within 3-mile radius of any listing in the country. New stores in the area, existing stores, all within 3 miles. Where am I going to get my toenails done, my tattoos removed? And you'll notice everything has got Yelp reviews, okay? It's always good to add Yelp reviews to any of your local stats that you're putting out. And then groom, and then everybody's got to be a pet-friendly realtor, right? Steve, you may hate pets, but you can't say it because half your clients have pets. So we know where all the pet goes are. We know their pet supplies, veterinarian hospitals, dog walkers. You show an immense amount of concern for animals. Again, you don't have to like them, but you have to say it here professionally that you do. Okay, so this report works anywhere in the country. Hawaii, Alaska, if it's a street address, we know what's down the street from that address. So let me go back to the PowerPoint and then we can get some questions. It's this one. So the email that comes to the consumer, or I'm sorry, the email that comes to the agent looks just like this. Okay, now this guy from Cropseyville, New York, I have no idea where that is.
It's near us.
Huh? It is?
That's near us.
Is Bill in your office? Bill Hannon? No, I think he's in the other office in Albany.
Oh, you mean, in Loudonville? No, he's not in the Loudonville
I
office.
think he's in the East Greenbush office.
Rensselaer,
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and Bill's probably, I would say Bill is 75, 80 years old. Loves this stuff because it's all done for him. So when you open your email in the morning, you got something coming from HomeActions. Open it up. It's usually good news. The only bad news is that somebody unsubscribed from your newsletter, and that happens. Expect about 5 out of 100. Are you guys doing the Find It First listings?
Yes.
Okay.
We have it available to us. It has not gained a lot of traction in the capital region.
Yeah, okay. And I think they're probably trying to shut it down too, aren't they? At least the NAR is.
Well, it's controversial.
Yeah, so Find It First or a regular listing, I believe by the end of June, we are on a nightly basis going to get every listing in the Howard Hanna system, and we're going to build a flyer like this, and we're going to be able to push it out to everybody in your database once a day, once an hour, every 3 days, whatever you want. We have a tool inside the HomeActions system. Right now, the newsletters go out every 2 weeks. If you want to send something in between those 2 weeks, this is it, or whatever you want it to be. You got a testimonial, new listing, open houses. We can e-blast it to everybody in your database. And of course, with all these links here, we're going to tell you who clicked on them. And there's going to be a voiceover video walking you through the house. We're going to pick up all this information. So all you got to say is, hey, Al, build me a listing flyer for 33716 Baldwin Road. And we'll do that. Now, at the end of the day, if I was in front of all you guys right now, somebody would put their hand up and say, Al, how many houses am I going to sell because I subscribe to HomeActions? Brian, what would you tell them? Between 0 and 100?
Yeah, that's probably good. I mean,
That's
it
the
depends on
Zillow
the
answer,
person.
right? Between 0 and 100. And that's what I would actually tell them. I can't guarantee you're going to sell more houses. Now, the average agent we work with, I think, sells between 1 and 2 more additional, okay? Sometimes it's 3, 4, 5, and they verify that. But the idea is these agents, we have about 90% of the agents stay with us year over year. Why? It's not necessarily how many houses they sell that year. It's how many are they going to sell going down the road. So we make sure that they don't have an allegiance for Keller Williams or Century 21. Because this agent's been helping this homeowner manage their house for the last 5 years, 10 years, whatever. So nurturing is everlasting. It's not something you can say, oh, I want to nurture my database from September to January. No, it's not going to work. We're going to do it all the time. So the return on investment comes from, I can come up with 12 different ways, I think, that the return on investment will show up. And it's all things that need to be done. You just don't have the time to do it, the fortitude. You don't have the fire in the belly for good content. We sleep, eat, and breathe this stuff. I mean, that's what we do. And I've been doing it for 19 years, as I mentioned. So we know what it takes to get and stay top of mind with somebody. So in summation, at the end of the day, what we know is what to send, when to send it, how to send it, how to use that data on what we sent to create conversation starters, and how to lock in exclusive value. Because at this point, I would hope you wouldn't want your clients getting this from Keller Williams, Century 21, or Remax. And they can't, okay? Because we're going to make sure they don't buy it. So again, this is all packaged. It's all set for you. It's ready to roll. And not only that, we've got a plan running here for April, up until the end of April, which even in New York, I think is tonight. We're getting rid of this. There's two ways to subscribe to the program. There's a monthly payment plan and there's a quarterly payment plan. The quarterly payment plan is better than the monthly plan, and we'll show you how. The monthly plan normally has a $99 setup fee, which, you know, hundreds of Howard Hanna agents have paid in the past. You guys don't have to do that in April because we're helping agents out in the month of April. So that $99 setup fee is waived. Instead of $65 for the first month, normally it's $60 per month for a newsletter every 2 weeks. Cancel anytime. The other side of the deal here is a better plan called the quarterly plan. There's no setup fee, never was. 4 quarterly payments of $145. Okay, so every 3 months, $145. You want to cancel the program? Just tell us not to bill you that $145 again, and we'll give you your database back. So normally it's $180, so you're saving $35, $70, $140 more over the monthly plan. Oh, I'm sorry, over the quarterly plan. Everybody else pays $180. You guys were asking for $145 today, and then 3 months, 3 months, 3 months. And 3 months, if you're still having a problem with your business and you feel that you can't afford the $145, we'll push it out another month or 2. Okay, we'll work with you. But we want that database constantly humming, constantly being added to, right? Because you have something to do now with every email address that you get your hands on. Whereas this morning when you woke up, you're like, well, what am I going to do different today? This, I suggest, is something that can alter your fortunes in real estate. Because I'm only doing what you know needs to be done. You just can't do it, or effectively, or even timely. That's why we do this for about 5,000 agents all over the country. So that is the quarterly plan, $145, and I'll email everybody an order form, and I'll send it to you, Steve, so you can post it. And then just call me later on this afternoon. If you can't fill the form out, at least call me with your name and say you want to do it so we can get you in that order. And you know, the first one here on this call that does it will get their database built and put it in second behind Donna Gloschlager. So anybody else, just call me. If you've got to work something out with me, we'll do it. I'm around all afternoon. So let's have some questions now about the program. And,
Albert, first off, can I put you on the spot?
Yeah.
Okay.
First, is that Steve or who's that?
Steve, it's me.
Oh,
Steve.
all right, go ahead. It's me.
So April is essentially gone. Can you arrange that to go through May? The waiver of the setup?
Not for the whole month, but probably for the first 2 weeks. Tell me why you're asking about the entire month.
Well, because, you know, we're real estate agents and we have to watch our pennies. You know, we're making sure we aren't spending too much money, and we aren't. I get that, but the setup fee. I mean, honestly, it feels like you know, a lot of pressure to do something today, and I know you want us to do it today, and we should do it today.
No,
but you know,
okay,
a lot of us. This is
right.
the first time we're hearing about it.
Let's get rid of the whole issue. Month of May, anybody in your office can buy it and still save the $99.
Thank you.
All right, glad to help.
Thank you.
Next question, please.
I have a couple of questions.
Go ahead, Philomena.
It's Tracy.
Oh,
Can you
Philomena's under you. I'm sorry.
Can you pull from any CRM like Sharper Agent,
Yeah.
Market Leader?
Yep.
Yes.
If we could see it,
Okay.
if we could see the contacts, we can get them out.
Okay, and then how do you add a new contact after you have this all set
Okay.
up?
Put them right in your phone. Put them in your dashboard. Everybody's going to get a dashboard and a control panel, if you will, where you can put them in. Everything is done. All your reports in one spot. And then, or just send them to us. Hey, Al, I met 4 people in an open house last night. Put them in. Or just send them right to support. Or if you're constantly getting emails, put everything on a Excel spreadsheet and send it to us once a week. Okay, but there's lots of ways to get people in. That's what we want you to, that's where the real success comes from, is growing that pipeline and having it insulated so nobody else can attack.
You can add 1 or 2 anytime you want, Tracy. Like
Okay.
for instance, I played golf the other day, met a guy, gave him my card. He emailed me his contact information. I went to the computer and put his email and name and phone number and everything into HomeActions and sent him that day. I sent him a newsletter. You can send somebody right on the spot a newsletter, like your prior newsletter.
At an open house, you could send it. By the time they get out to the car, they've got your
Right.
newsletter.
Yeah,
I
I
just met that realtor.
That
She's look
works.
how fast she
Yeah,
is.
that's a nice feature. I have one question for you too, Albert.
Go ahead.
I have a second CRM, not just Engage. Is there a
Right.
way that can be pulled in, like weekly or the same way?
Yeah, call me this afternoon. We'll get it going.
Okay. All right, sounds good.
Yeah, again,
that-
my
that
motto
would
is
make
if I can
everything-
see contacts, I can get them out.
What
Right.
if I, myself, am in somebody else's database? I don't know who it is. I know I get a HomeActions flyer.
You'll get 2 newsletters, one from yourself and one from whoever you're signed up for, or you can unsubscribe from another one.
And then I'm
Yeah,
unsubscribing.
So here's how I found out about HomeActions. So another agent from another office locally here all of a sudden must have signed up, and I'm not sure exactly when that was. I think it was around this time last year. And I looked at it, and I happened to be subscribing to another newsletter that I was sending that I really liked and everything, but it was more than double the price of this. And so I inquired. I forget if I don't think I talked to you, Albert. I think I talked to Paul.
Yeah, we were at the convention, right?
Yeah. No, it was before the convention.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
Yeah. And I talked to you guys there too. And I just liked what I saw. It saved me a lot of money, and they had a few features that the other one did not have. This is more automatic, and you can take it. Obviously you can work these leads as hard as you want, or just set it and forget it. You can change the newsletters, or the articles in any sequence, or if you prefer one over another, or something floats your boat more than what is set up as a standard newsletter. It's got flexibility, and the support person. I've talked to Albert a few times, but Paul, he sends those videos out, I think once a week or once every 2 weeks or something, with just little tip.
Yeah, the HomeActions University. Yeah.
Yeah, those are good. I mean, I don't watch them every time, but I do watch them occasionally, and it does give you some ideas on how you can make everything better, and it doesn't cost you anything. And now we've got lots of time to watch videos. So.
Yeah. Okay, Tracy, other questions?
What is your contact number?
Oh, 570, I should put that on there, right? We're in the contact business. 570, I'm down in Scranton, 570-510-3507. And my email address is aclark, ACLARK, at homeactions.net.
.net.
Yeah. And we can get you going, as soon as you want, whenever you want. There's no pressure. And then if you even want me to start logging in, or we start the process of building your database. If you think you don't have enough numbers, enough contacts to do this, I can tell you how many you have, or how many approximately you will have. See, because we processed every email address that we put in the system. So we take out like info@Macy's department store, right? That's not a human email address. We'll take out all the duplicates. We'll take out the bad email addresses. We'll verify. We pay an outside service to verify every email address that we put in the service. Because when we send 500,000 emails to Gmail at any given time, they've got to be good email addresses. It can't be junk, because if you're putting junk in the system, Gmail is going to penalize you. And that means we have to start going through their spam filters. We don't want that. When they see 500,000 emails coming from us, they know who we are. And this all happens in a millionth of a second, by the way, but they know who we are. So we have to worry about our reputation. So we really, really run through these lists and clean them up and make sure that everything's legit. We'll throw you out of the whole program if you end up buying lists, because they're just always junk and problematic. Only half of them are good. So we don't allow any purchase lists, because most of the relationships we're going to help you build are from people that you've known or you met 3 years ago and you haven't done anything with. Steve,
Albert?
go ahead.
I give you all my contact list. It doesn't go anywhere. It's not sold to anybody
No,
else.
sir.
It's not harvested. It's not looked at by anybody else.
If we did that, we wouldn't be on this call, Steve, right?
Okay,
Right.
that's what I was,
Secondly,
I'm,
yeah, all right. Now, to even
And to the
throw
best
that
of
one
my
up,
knowledge, I've never
today-
been contacted.
today I think about 3 o'clock, Hobie's sending out an email all about HomeActions to 19,000 agents. Okay, so they've been waiting to work with us, and of course I'm eager to have them on my team. But our name came up, and a couple of the top producers that were on the webinar last week mentioned that they have HomeActions, they love it. Joe Cardinale, and somewhere in New York.
he's in Clifton Park, yeah. He's
Yeah,
got 700 people on it.
Yeah, 700 people, and he's only been doing this 3 years, and he's #1 in the office or something like that. So he's doing something right. I'm not saying it's all
Pulled
home.
up my contacts, I have 1,300 and something. But the fact that you can pull them in from open to close, not that we're doing any open houses anymore, but we've got a lot of people in there
Mhm.
that we can transfer in. As we're getting contacts, if we can do the fact you can do it automatically without thinking about it, I think is a really, really big plus, because most people are not going to take the time every time they get a contact to go in there and do it themselves.
Okay. Philomena, you got a question?
I do. And I'm sorry if this is something that you already went through and I missed it.
That's fine.
But are the newsletters sent out automatically, or do we have to go in and select what article that we want to send out that
No,
goes out?
we
for-
suggest all the articles, so we pre-populate your newsletter every 2 weeks. 4 days before your newsletter goes out, you're going to get an email from the system, and it says, hey, Philomena, in 4 days, your newsletter's going out. So that's when you can look and see what we posted. And you could say, no, take that one out, bring this one in, edit that one. I want to add a listing, a just sold, an open house. Our support people will do all that for you. So you
Okay.
have total say over what the newsletter looks like when it goes out. If you
Okay.
want to, if you're getting $1 million listing tomorrow and your newsletter's going out today, we can put a hold on that for you, okay? So it's all customized as to what goes out to whom and when, and you guys control that.
Okay,
Yeah,
thank you.
it's really easy. It's pretty simple. I mean, again, you can just not do anything and let them send it out, or if you want to tweak it every once in a while or add something that you like, it's pretty easy to do.
So thanks, Brian, for that. So then, Al, if, when you send that information, you're like, okay, this is the article that's going out. What happens if the agent can't get back to you in a certain amount of time? Does that a newsletter that you selected automatically go out? Because
Yeah,
we have
every 2 weeks, somebody's going to make you look good unless you go into the control panel and say, hold my launches.
Okay.
Or you just call support and say, hey, I'm 2 days late. Just, I need 2 more days, but I got a listing coming in, put my launch on hold.
Okay, cool. Thank
Okay,
you.
let's see, who else got a hand up? Anybody else have a hand up? I'm supposed to see hands, raised hands. Tracy, go ahead, you got the floor.
I didn't ask for anything, but I am
Okay.
going to call you. So if you
Yeah,
want to put me next.
you can call me right after this,
All right.
call me after this one.
All right.
Ed Barber's on. Mary, any questions?
I had to unmute. No, I don't. I'm just, through the years, I've been thinking about doing something like this. And what I've done, I mean, my base now is so small. I've cleaned it out, so I'm really, my contact, I do 2 mailings.
Yeah, we call that a tight sphere of influence.
It's,
Everybody's
yeah.
hand selected.
Well, right. These are past clients and, or, people that have referred me out. So I only have, I don't, what do I have? A little over, I think 125, something like that. I don't know if it's worth it to, build it up. I wanted to learn, more about how this works and cost and all that. So thank you. I've learned a lot.
Yeah, as you know, there's no limit to how many people you can put in the database.
Right,
So
right. And
I would
that's,
suggest you put everybody in, because if I could help you make a relationship that turns into a sale 3 years down the road from now, that's me doing my job.
I know I've been a little reluctant because, we get so many emails and, but this, I delete every day, as everybody does, so many emails, but I'm thinking about maybe starting this. It's great that you can see what what kind of connections you get and like the conversation starters. I think that's all good. So I am considering it if I can find an easy way to get all my emails together with
Well,
their.
no, we'll do that for you. Okay, that's what you're paying us for. So we'll work with you. Go into your iCloud, wherever your phone backs up, Gmail, MLS, Go Hanna, everything that's in there. That's what we do. We don't want you getting frustrated by downloading maybe the wrong stuff or not knowing how to put it on a spreadsheet. So you can do that if you want, but.
Yeah, I have everything on a spreadsheet. I don't have the emails attached to it at this point.
Okay, well, we can work, you could work on that. I can't tell you how to do that.
Right,
but-
right. I mean, they're in my phone and everything, but they're kind of all over the place. I need to clean all that up too.
Now, don't you take them out of the phone, Albert, if I recall? Didn't you take email addresses out of the
No,
phone?
you can't export anything out of a phone. If your phone backs up to the cloud at night, at midnight, whether you're on Verizon or
Right.
AT&T, we have to log into Verizon or AT&T, whatever, to get that. If you got an Apple phone, every night at midnight, your phone is supposed to back up to the iCloud.
Right.
We go in and export all your contacts out of the iCloud that have email addresses. Not everybody puts email addresses on a contact on their phone.
That's what I remember you doing. Yep.
Right. So we'll take everybody that's got a contact in iCloud that has an email address, take them right out. Not take them out,
Okay.
duplicate them.
I do have them in the phone, the email addresses on
Right.
most.
Well, then the only way you can get that is by logging into the cloud or Verizon or AT&T, Sprint, whoever your service provider is. And if you don't know how to export, we do.
Okay, thank
Albert,
you.
you said that if someone in our list is getting the HomeActions newsletter from someone else, they can go unsubscribe. What if they don't know who that someone else is? They have to wait the 2 weeks for it to come to them, then hit the unsubscribe?
Yes. And you could probably tell them, hey, look for that other newsletter. You're my client. You wouldn't say it that way, but.
Tracy would.
Well, I don't know. Tracy, you go slice that agent's tires. I don't know what you guys do up there.
That's
But
a
yeah,
Pennsylvania thing.
it's not a perfect scenario, but then again, we promised that agent if they were first, they got in before you did. See what I'm saying? That's the importance of doing this in a timely manner, if you can, because a vast majority of your database will get put in the system.
Yeah. Well, like I told you, I myself am in someone, so I would have to wait 2 weeks to get their newsletter again.
Well, I would hope that you saved that email.
I
right?
didn't.
No, I know you didn't. But you could probably go into your junk and find it, hit the button that says unsubscribe.
Yeah.
Or you may want to, what brokerage are they with?
I don't even remember.
Okay.
I know that I get some and I keep them because I've been kind of thinking about a newsletter. So I've been looking at each one and seeing what they have in there.
Uh-huh. Okay.
Yeah, I still get the other agent's newsletter. In fact, I got it early this morning, Albert.
You've
the one-
got 2 email addresses in the system now.
No. My email. I'm getting it to my email.
Oh, right, because you're your first member in your database. Yes.
Right. And I never unsubscribed. I didn't want to insult her or whatever. And I actually, she's I look to see if she does anything a little bit different or unique that I can steal or maybe tweak a little bit.
Is she a good agent? Why don't you bring her in
Yes,
and have
she is.
Steve talk to her, sign her up?
No, she is signed up.
She's already with Howard Hanna.
Oh, she's already with Howard Hanna. Okay.
She's with our Delmar office, actually.
Well, we got to move them to Loudonville, the #1 office in the entire system.
We're trying. No.
Yeah, I
Oh,
read that
what a
somewhere.
schmoozer, Al. What a schmoozer.
I read that somewhere. It must be true if it's on the internet, right?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Loudonville, #1 office in Loudonville.
There you go.
Just change the words around a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay, so if there's not any more questions, we can go. I'm going to what do you call it? Make a copy of the presentation, Steve, and can you send it to everybody else?
Thank you. I appreciate that because there were several people that wanted to do this, but they had conflicts.
Yeah, well, I know you can't carry my water. Nobody can, but you'll do a good job delivering the video.
You're pretty persuasive, though. I'll tell you that.
No, I've done
Yes,
this
you
for a
are.
while.
Albert, I think we want to hire you to follow up with all of our clients. That's what we
And I get 20% commission on top of Hobie's 120% commission?
Yeah.
I think Ed's got a question for you.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay, Ed, go ahead, buddy.
Okay. I've got a market leader website,
Right,
and I've got about 450 or so contacts
good.
on that website with an IDX feed and all that stuff. I presume you can do that automatically?
I wouldn't say automatically. You and I will log in there and I'll export all the contacts remotely, or I'll tell you how to do it.
Okay.
But we're talking 45, 50 seconds.
Okay. Now, all right, we got your presentation this morning. I presume you have a website where we can do some more research?
Yeah, homeactions.net, .net.
HomeActions.net.
Yeah, HomeActions is plural, S on HomeActions.net.
Okay.
But don't
Is
go
there a
filling out any
HomeAction?
forms to buy, because the price on there is much more than what you have the option for here.
Okay. Now, this is exclusive to Howard Hanna.
Correct. If we knowingly talk to a Keller Williams agent or a competitor up there, we're going to say, no, you can't buy it.
Okay.
And I've irritated a lot of people in my company. They're like, why would you do that? And it's like, well, because look what Howard Hanna is doing for us,
Okay.
So I don't, and am I going to drive back to Loudonville, New York to hit a Keller Williams office? I don't think so. I might come up there when the weather changes and we'll have a lunch and learn or a, what do you call it, a wine and cheese. But I'm not going down the street to Keller Williams. Yeah, you like that, Steve, don't you, huh? Wine and cheese?
Steve's in charge of all that.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
All right.
If anybody out there thinking of signing up, if they want to call me offline too, to just ask questions of me about how it worked for me, I'm happy to answer any questions too. I mean,
All right.
obviously,
Thanks, Brian.
I can tell you what Albert's saying has all been true for me. I mean, it's been great. So I really like it.
I'm glad you volunteered, Brian.
Yeah, no problem. I was the guinea pig, and I just ran into it, found it by accident, really, and it's saved me quite a bit of money, and I like the idea of just like being in front of people. So,
What were you using before that, Brian?
I knew you were going to ask me that question. Geez, I can't remember the name of it. It was a guy out in Arizona that I met, and it was really nice and everything, but it was more than double the price.
Outbound engine?
No.
No,
No,
because that's about 120 a month.
I'll find it. Hold on just a second.
No,
me
Brian,
see.
that doesn't matter. I just
Curious.
wanted to know what it was.
Can I
Okay,
ask a quick
all right.
question? Can I ask a quick question?
Yeah, I'm sorry. Who's that, please?
Philomena.
Oh, hi, Philomena. Right.
So you talked about being able to send to Gmail accounts and AOL accounts. What about like accounts for people's work addresses? Is there any issue with sending communication to their work emails?
No, generally they have two email addresses. You just happen to have their work email address.
Right.
Many times they will send you back a response to say, hey, can you use my Gmail account? I'm not supposed to be getting personal email like this. So, the internet police never arrested anybody for doing that. So
Usually the issue's on the receiver end, Philomena. In other words, like if it was the state or some large organization, they filter that sort of thing and won't let it come through. You may not even find that out. It just doesn't go through. That's all. So you're probably going to be better off, obviously, using their personal addresses.
right.
Okay,
I mean,
so that,
you'll have all their phone numbers in there too. If you have their phone number contact, you could always call them
Or
through
send them a
those
text.
emails, call them and see
okay,
if
but
it's their personal one.
let's back up a minute, okay? So if the email doesn't go through, so let's just say as a result of some type of, protection that they have on their servers, there's no notification that will come back to the agent to say that this notification got kicked back, that email address is not good. And it's not really just for like a New York State person. It might be because I might have gotten somebody's Gmail account and wrong, and I want to know that it's bouncing back.
Yeah,
Well, that one you would get.
Go ahead.
Yeah, that one you would get. But however, a lot of if it's a filtering issue because of the organization, Some of them will send you a message back, and some of them don't bother with it. They just kill it, and it never gets to the employee or whatever, the person in that organization. So there's no ironclad, this is exactly what's going to happen, especially when you go to a like a commercial type of an email. But if you send it to sstables@gmail.com, and obviously you misspelled it or whatever, you'll get a mailer demon or whatever coming back saying you could not deliver that.
You'll be able to see your soft bounces, which are emails that we tried to deliver the first time, and then it'll go hard bounce after we try it 8 times.
Okay, all right.
Eight
So
times, but yeah, you're not going to get some 4-star general in the Pentagon to open up your newsletter.
right. But go back to the criteria. You say if it bounces back 8 times, if that server at the state bounces back 8 times, then will I get that notification?
Yes. You'll get the notification after the 2nd bounce, 3rd bounce, 4th bounce. I won't say you're going to get it in an email. It'll be in your control panel.
Okay, perfect.
Because when we add up all your members, it has to add up to 100%. There's going to be good ones, there's going to be bad ones, and there's going to be ones that are percolating because they're still in various stages of soft or hard launching.
All right, perfect.
I'm thinking that might give you a reason to contact someone, because you're going to say, I have this new newsletter. I only had your work email. Did you get it there? Do you want to give me your personal email? I'll send it there.
You are wiser beyond your years, Tracy.
My years are pretty high, so.
Guys, you want to hear something exciting about what we're building next?
Yes, I would.
Everybody still awake? Okay. It's called email scoring. We're working with a company that Howard Hanna actually looked at to start working with about 1.5 years ago, and Howard Hanna couldn't figure out how to do this. So what we're going to do every night is take all the email addresses that you have in your HomeActions database, and we're going to blast them up against 1,100 predictive databases, social sites, and websites. Everywhere that email address is being used, we're going to collect. And the artificial intelligence is going to come back and say, of all let's say you have 250 email addresses. This group is between 18 and 45. They're not doing anything, buying, selling, anything. The group that's 81 and above, and I'll just give you some live examples. Mrs. Jones is taking prenatal vitamins. Mr. Wilson shopped on diapers.com last night for the first time. The Clarks have a dumpster in their driveway.
I remember that company, Albert.
It's called Revaluate.
Yes.
They were at the Howard Hanna convention. I talked to the guy for 1.5 hours, and I was coming up with so many ideas. We eventually bought enough data, a couple billion data bytes, and we're going to be able to offer this in July for about $25 a month, up to, I think it's 700 contacts. And we're going to every night score those email addresses. We're not going to tell you that Mrs. Jones is pregnant or that her father died and they got to sell the house. The artificial intelligence puts all this data stream together, and it comes back and it says Mrs. Jones is a 74. So that means her email address has been found on MLS sites, things that are indicative of somebody searching. And when these consumers have a problem in their life, usually the solution is buy or sell a house. We're going to know that, and we're going to be able to tell you 75% confidence level that the following people are going to be 6 to 12 months away from transacting. And how do we know this is, we've got email addresses, we can go back in time. And we could tell you that so-and-so is 70% assured of buying or selling, because their email address is used at the courthouse to transfer all the docs right after they buy a house. So we know who owns that email address and who bought a house, okay? Because we collect all that information. And you guys should know this. When you go to the supermarket, and for the last 5 years you've been buying Jif peanut butter, and all of a sudden you buy Skippy, somebody knows that in about an hour. And you're going to say, well, why do they care? Well, everything you buy in a store is tracked when you put your shopper's card on there for the discounts. That's why you're trading your privacy for everything you buy, okay? So they obviously know who's the vegetarian, right, and who's not. And all this data is out there. We're not going to get agents in trouble by telling them the underlying criteria. We're just going to say, literally, you'll be walking down your office very soon, and your phone will go off, and it'll say, Mrs. Jones moved from a 67 to a 94. we're encouraging you, not that minute, but something happened the last 2 weeks in her life, and the solution is buy or sell a home. This is going to be phenomenal. And the reason that Howard Hanna passed on this advantage with Revaluate is that they don't have a back end, a system. They would have to build something, and Howard Hanna is not good at building stuff. They'd rather just go out and buy it, which is a smarter move. Well, we already have the ability to take in the agent's email addresses and to send it out and to score it and do all this. It was a natural for us. And of course, we bought it for the whole country. So maybe Howard Hanna would come back and say, well, why don't you just give it to our agents that are using HomeActions? And for a month or two, we'll do that for free. But at a certain point, you got to buy this data because it's very, very valuable data. Now, you wouldn't pick up the phone and call Mrs. Jones and say, hey, Mrs. Jones, I see you're taking the prenatal vitamins. You know, you wouldn't do that. And Mr. Jones has been out of town for a month, and there's a different car with a different out-of-state license plate in the driveway.
All right.
Next to the dumpster. No, but literally, I'm telling you, Steve, there's a database out there of people that have dumpsters in their driveway today.
Yeah.
And that's what really blew my mind.
Yeah.
You know, when you see a dumpster, it's two things. They're fixing up to sell, fixing up to stay. Otherwise, you know that, right? There's only two things you can do with a dumpster.
Yeah.
So that's what we're building, and that's coming out probably middle May. And I've been testing it. We've had the ability to test it for the last few months. Very accurate. Brian, I think, did I talk to you about giving me 100 contacts and I'll do the testing for you?
I think we did talk about it at one point a couple months ago, but I can.
Yeah, I don't know if we ever did. I don't think we did.
I'll
But
give
anyway,
you 1,000 contacts if you want to test them.
no, what I want, because the results will come back a lot faster with 100 than 1,000.
Oh,
But
okay,
secondly, but I appreciate that idea. What was I going to say? So at the end of the day, what it comes down to is 7 to 8% of everybody you have in your database, email addresses, 7 to 8% of them are going to be buying a house in the next 6 to 12 months. That's what we're going to tell you. We're 75% assured of that. Is it all at 100% accurate? No. But the intelligence that you're going to glean from your HomeActions database, and we're going to, and also we're taking all that research and all that scoring, Steve, we're going to put it in your Moxie Engage. So you'll be able to score everybody you have in Moxie Engage because we're already scoring them in HomeActions. Okay, you guys have never seen anything like this. I didn't see it either, and I'm so glad I talked to that guy for an hour and a half. A lot of companies came to him.
I talked to him too. He was a younger guy, I remember,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
Yep,
Chris,
I
I can't tell you his last name right now.
Yeah, I remember.
But they work with, the 90% of their revenue is to mortgage companies, right? Because the mortgage company wants to know when somebody's thinking about buying or selling a house, right? Boom. We're going to take it and blow it up and then provide an invaluable service that you're not going to be able to find anywhere. We may, ultimately jack up the price of HomeActions $20 a month and have this built in for free. We're going to experiment with a lot of stuff. Okay, I'm talking longer than I should. Edward, Brian, Philomena, you got everything else? Any other questions?
Send me the recording. I'll get it out to the troops. And just a reminder to everybody, you want to do it sooner than later because obviously there's going to be just some and Albert has very graciously waived the $99 setup fee through the month of May. But the sooner you get this going, the sooner you get obviously the opportunity to, get another lead. So, and you get one lead, and guess what? You sell one house.
Yeah, Albert did his job if you sell one house.
Yeah, you sell one extra house, and you've paid for that. What is it? What did it work out to? $720 a year, or something like that?
60 times 12, 620. No, 6 times 12 is what? 72. 720. Yeah.
Yeah.
Normally,
not a bad
about 900
investment
for everybody else. Yeah.
580
Okay.
to do the quarter.
The corner one was, what I say, 145?
145.
Yeah,
Yeah.
145, so it's 580 a
580.
year.
Yeah, 580 a year versus 720. So there's your savings.
Yeah. It's kind of probably should just pay for it and then just get that out of your mind and then just keep those letters getting out there.
Yeah.
I presume you take credit cards.
We take credit cards. Oh, yeah. In fact, I have Steve's.
Oh, I'm in there.
Huh?
That thing's worn out.
Steve, can you clarify those last four, please? I must have missed, I must have erred that.
Well, since
Yes, we
since
gladly
you have
take credit
Steve's
cards.
number already, I mean, that'll work.
That's our lifeblood. Unless you want to drive down to Scranton, Ed, and give me some cash.
Hey,
I
Albert,
just as well use Steve's number.
Yeah,
Hey, Albert.
Philomena, go ahead.
just one quick question. So you gave us your contact information. Steve, you said that you were going to be sending out the PowerPoint presentation. Can that include Albert's contact information too?
Yeah,
I'm
make
gonna
sure you
send
get
out
the
the
PowerPoint.
I
Yeah.
have it. I'll text it to you right now, Philomena.
Thank you.
And I'll
I
send the
didn't
order
write it
form
down.
to everybody
I didn't
that's
write it
on the
down
call
like
if they
crazy.
want to do this sooner than later. I think somewhere
All
on the
right.
order form it says April only, but don't worry about that. Your fearless
Albert,
leader there
thank
drives
you.
a hard bargain.
Thank you very much for coming out here this morning. I know
It's
you
only
had,
taken 9 months, Steve. Don't worry about it.
I know, I know.
Albert, if you just called them a little bit more frequently, we could have had this, sooner. You know what I mean? You're not
The term is
persistent.
persistence.
Yeah, you got to be more persistent.
Well, obviously it worked,
Persistence
right?
wears down resistance.
Listen, I'm going to hire you to call all my contacts once a week.
I was going to call Al Peachy, but I couldn't pronounce his last name. All right. Anybody else any more questions? If you do, email them, aclark@homeactions.net. I'm waiting for the phone to ring when we shut this thing down. I don't have another webinar until 2 o'clock. And then I'm around all day. If you want to get your database going this afternoon, tonight, I'm on the project 15 hours a day. Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you for your
See you,
attention.
everybody.
Have a good
All
day.
right, brother.
Bye-bye.
See you
Thank
later,
you.
guys.
Okay. Now I'm trying to get it to shut off.